Everything you desire is waiting for you to claim it. There's no creating involved, only invention through imagination and building through action. You are at the center of all your desires, dreams, and achievements. Welcome to Designing Your Life Today, the podcast that's all about your success, achieving your goals, building wealth through your business, and building your most passionate, powerful, magnificent life. Discover ways to use your purpose to connect you to serving others and living your dreams. I am Pat Council, and I know you are built by design to win. And it all begins with knowing how to tap into your success energy. Let's get on the path of discovery, decisive action, development, and unwavering dedication to your life's calling. It's time to embark on a transformative journey where your deepest passions become your most rewarding achievements. Embrace your power to shape your destiny, because this is your moment to do life with power. Hello, Power Up Nation. Pat Council here. And we're going to talk about your winning authority is in your authenticity. It's extremely important that we understand how powerful we really are as human beings so we can start doing our own thinking. And actually, it goes beyond just being able to do your own thinking. It is about you being able to activate that power that you have in you so that you can achieve the goals that you want to achieve. You can stay consistent, you can stay focused, and get to where it is you really desire to be. I can't imagine, well, actually I can. I was going to say I can't imagine living a life where you're longing for something and wishing for something and hoping for something. And it seems as though it's you who's holding it back, and you don't feel good about not achieving the goal, and you don't feel good because you're not moving forward. You're not doing what it takes, even though you know exactly what to do and how to do it. And this is kind of what can make a person sad. Now, I know what that feels like because I can remember when I would have these ideas, and I'm talking years ago. This was even before the podcast and actually before real estate, or early in real estate. And I would be wishing for things and hoping for things. And then I had to make a decision, and I had to really kind of come into my own, so to speak. And what that means is I had to be willing to step up and do life with power. I had to be willing to embrace the idea that I am built by design to win. I had to be willing to really make that connection and believe what's written. Yeah, and what I mean when I say what's written, I'm talking about what's written in the Bible. So I had to believe all of these things because right there in Genesis, it talks about how we're created. So we have a great ability to take authority over our destiny. And we have the ability, when we make the right connection, and I'm talking doing the inner work, not looking outside yourself. When we make the right connection, believe me, we will follow through on that destiny. Now, sometimes it's easier said than done because we have so much noise outside of us. We have so many people who have an opinion about who we are or how we're meant to be because of either how we look or our gender or whatever the case is, or, our IQ level or our level of intelligence. And so we have so many people who call themselves experts, and they have something to say about a group of people as a whole, and we adopt these kinds of identities as individuals. So with that being said, I wanted to do this podcast or this episode because I think it's important that we understand that we have the ability to win. We have that winning authority comes forward when we take action on that winning authority. So in other words, the words that you speak, the action you take, it will bring you the desire, the thing that you desire the most, and whether it's good or bad, but it will bring you what you desire. You'll be able to achieve your goals, and but the key is the authenticity. So what does that mean? That means that the words you speak, the actions you take must be in alignment with who you are if you want results. Words plus your authentic self, well, that's going to bring you the results that you desire. And it's extremely important to understand what that means to you when you're on that journey to getting the thing that you truly desire, on that journey to making something happen, because you have a vision that you want to follow through on, and you want to carry that vision. You want to carry it on and carry it out. The key is to be in touch with your true identity. Now, your true identity is the person. When we're talking about goal setting, setting a goal and achieving that goal and making something happen, your true identity is the person that you have to be in order to live the life that you desire, to live that life outside or out loud. Now, I have been mentioning to you guys before I took my little silent break, I've been mentioning it to you that, hey, I'm working out more and really reclaiming my physical fitness. Now, in order for me to actually make that happen, in order for me to actually get some results, I have to actually understand who my true authentic self is. I'm not technically unhealthy, but if I don't become more fit, I will eventually fall into the unhealthy category. That's not my identity. My identity is a healthy person. Remember, we're built by design to win. So I was built to be a healthy human being, and I have to walk in that identity. That's a part of my authenticity. When people say, well, I'm just keeping it real, a lot of times they're not talking about who they really are. A lot of times when people say that, it's actually on the side of negativity. Well, I'm just keeping it real because I'm saying what I think and I'm saying what I feel. There's nothing wrong a lot of times with saying what you think and feel. I mean, unless it's just so annoying and you want the rest of the world to listen to that stuff. And even then, hey, as long as we can turn you off, feel free. Have at it. I'm a person who believes in freedom. But the point that I'm making is, and I wanted to use myself as an example because you guys know many times I do that. It's kind of a practice what I preach thing. And is that in order for me to get those results, then I have to see myself in a certain light. I have to embrace the idea that this is who I am. And there's nothing, nothing that can stop me from allowing that identity to come forward except for, well, the person I see in the mirror. That would be me. So when you think about your authority, you have the authority to make changes in your life. You have the authority to build the life that you desire and live that magnificent life. You have the authority to do these things. A lot of times, people are afraid right now. And here in America, I can't speak for other countries, but because of the furlough and all of the things that are going on with Congress, with the president, with the Republicans, with the Democrats. And so all of these things. And so people are allowing a group of people to kind of dictate how they should feel, how they should think about themselves, and what they should accept in their lives. When in reality, it's really interesting if the masses make a decision that, you know what, this is who God made me to be. Instead of looking to other human beings as their so-called leader, they need to look above that leader. Okay, and look to the ultimate leader, and that would be God. So if they look and they embrace who God made them to be, that's their authenticity. They step into that. They realize that they're fearfully and wonderfully made, and that, wait a minute, I can think and I can make decisions for my life. And so, hey, speak up collectively as a group. We're not going to go down that rabbit hole, at least not on this episode. the point that I'm making is we turn our true selves off, or we shut our true selves down. We hide who we really are so we can either fit in, or because we're afraid, because we think that someone else knows better how we should live our lives, what should be acceptable for our lives. Someone knows better than I or than you. That's not true. You know what's best for you. The object of the game is to have enough courage to step out there and, as I said, live that life that you desire, to live it out loud. Now, the question is, how do you ensure that you even know your authentic self? How do you ensure that you are even being your authentic self, or that you even are on the right track? In other words, you are embracing, when people say, well, this is just who I am. Sometimes that's not who they are, because a lot of times it is a negative facade that they've put up, or sometimes it is a facade that causes them to behave in a manner that's not conducive to the lifestyle that they see in their mind. See, if the vision that you have for your life is not matching the person that you're behaving to be, or the person that you're acting as, then there's a flaw there. So, as I said, the question becomes, how do you know and how do you find your authenticity? One of the main ways is to know and connect with yourself is to start with being silent. I talked about this on yesterday's podcast, that success is in the silence. And so we start by being silent. We start by being still, because remember, when I talked about this yesterday, and you can listen to the full episode, it's there. But when I talked about silence yesterday, remember, in the silence, this is where things grow. So if you practice silence enough, the growth will take place in you, and you'll connect with your true self. In other words, it's going to come forward. It's kind of like when you plant a seed in the ground. You know, it's dark out at night. It needs light in order to continue to grow, but then it needs some time where it's quiet, where it's dark. And so it's in that dark ground, and before you know it, here's what comes bursting through. You see a little seedling that starts to come up. It turns into a plant of some type, and then it just continues to grow into what it was designed for. If it was designed to become an apple tree or an orange bush or whatever it was designed for, it will grow into that. The true self will come forward. It comes forward in the silence, or you at least get to connect with it, and you get clarity on who you really are. And it's funny, and we're gonna this is I think a short show. I always say that, don't I? But it's important that we understand that when we're being silent, or that something great can come out of us, how we think. But if we're being silent and thinking, let's say, negative thoughts about ourselves, then we're not truly being silent. So that's kind of my caveat. Silence is silence. Tone it down, whatever those thoughts are, and listen and let the best that's in you come forward. Okay. Because we are built by design to win. The thing about being silent is, because we find it difficult to do, we don't do it as much as we need to do it. There are people who think they're being silent because they're playing music in the background. Oh, this is nice, soft, steady music because I need quiet. No, silence is silence, complete quiet, so you can hear everything. And so that's one of the ways to begin to tap into your authenticity. When you do this and you discover, who you authentically are, then what happens is you now know the goals that you want to achieve. You now know that the goals that you set, that they are in fact real goals that mean something. Then what's going to happen is, when you speak and act on your desires, you're winning authority. It is going to come through in a very powerful way. See, a big part of our authority is how we speak, the words that come out of our mouth, and the the emotions that we put behind it. Now, this is not about yelling or anything like that, but this is about speaking with confidence. This is about speaking, as I said, with a kind of power that says, hey, this is a done deal because this is what I'm built for. This is my purpose on this earth. This is why I'm here. You're going to be in control of your attitude, and you're going to make the right emotional connection to your goals that you're trying to achieve, the goals that you're working on. I shouldn't say try, that's my least favorite word, but that you're working on achieving. And there's a good, strong possibility that you will get more results. Now, we're going to talk more about what it really means when it comes to goal setting and goal achievement, because a lot of times we keep goal setting and goal achievement, we break it down to something that's materialistic. While there's nothing wrong with that, that's a very basic those are very basic goals, a new car, a new house, or more money. Those are very basic goals. And in order to even get the most basic goals, which doesn't require a lot of energy, you actually need to be in control of your energy, whether it requires a little bit of energy or a lot of energy. So it's important for you to take that time to be silent so that you can connect with who you are or your authenticity, and your authority at that point will come through with such confidence. No one will be able to stop you. Now, when you use your authority to speak an outcome, if it's not connected to who you were designed to be, now here's the thing, you may get some results. Because in other words, if a person is thinking negative, and we're not designed to be negative, that's actually not how we're built. Okay. The Bible says that God is love. So that is our foundation, and we are designed to love and actually be love. And I'm not just talking about, eros love, male, female, and I'm not talking about that. Okay. But that is our foundation, and I've got a whole lineup on that, and I really wanted to start doing it in December, but I'm not going to. I'm going to wait until February, but it is very deep because I really think it's important that people understand what love is and when it comes to their lives and building their magnificent life. But back on topic. So as I said, when you use your authority to speak an outcome, if it's not connected to who you were designed to be, then the results, you're going to get some results, but the results will always leave you wishing for more. The results will leave you very unsatisfied because the person that actually spoke, and I was saying, if you're speaking negatively, well, you're going to bring some negative results into your life. And then you're going to wonder, where did this come from? Why is my life like this? And a lot of times people look for other people to blame, but the reality of it is because of what we allowed into our life. See, this is also a part of your authority. The actions that you take. And one of the actions that we take sometimes is we allow, things into our lives, and we know that either that person or that job or whatever it is, we know this is not for us. A lot of times people aren't happy, and which is why a lot of times people complain. And here's the thing. People even allow illnesses to come into their lives. Why? Because understand this, when you're speaking, and if you speak it with authority, even though your authentic self is built by design to win and is supposed to be healthy, then the reality of it is, but because you have adopted a persona that's counter to who you really are, you're going to get results that will leave you wishing and wanting. Okay. In other words, you may get ill because you find that to be acceptable, because we think that all I have to do is take a pill and that's either going to fix it, or we're now living in a time where people use illness and issues. That is the point of their conversation, and I have to be honest. Sometimes I have to catch myself because, I sit around people and this is before I kind of went through my silent period. And I'm like, okay, you know what? if I'm going to be around these people, I either have to be silent, and just kind of not engage. Okay. Or I have to kind of get a new group or some people. Now, these aren't bad people, don't get me wrong, but I'm talking about sometimes people that I meet along the way. And yeah, some people I see, well, often. I think you guys get the point that when your authority, the authority that you have, the authority that we were given, if you read it in Genesis, the authority that we've been given because we're made in God's image, it's important to use that authority to speak life, to speak something good. And it's amazing how people can't look around and see that the very things that they've been speaking that are negative and complaining about the president and how much they don't like the president, or complaining about Republicans, or complaining about the Democrats, or just like a big bunch of strife. Okay. Because of the authority that you have, results are coming back to you. Okay. And when we speak these things collectively, the collective conscious decides kind of how a society is shaped. So it could be shaped full of love, full of kindness. And that does not mean it won't have some challenges, but the love is there. So the strength will be there. So when it comes to using that winning authority, when you connect it to your authenticity, or you understand who you authentically are, then everything you do with authority will bring you the best of the best. Now, I want to kind of finish up by saying this and kind of give you a hint when it comes to that. And I've kind of given you a hint already. So the hint as to who you are, that actually begins with accepting the fact that inside you is a powerful person that's waiting to come forward. Because we're not meant to be, as I said, this, negative, complaining, constantly putting attention on our illnesses. And we're just not meant to be that way. Now, here's another caveat. That does not mean that you won't that you can't have a physical issue. What it means is your focus. It's important that you put your focus on the wholeness of you, on your perfection, if you will, on being healed, not bask in being unhealthy. Not bask in things that are going wrong. What's going wrong or what's making you unhealthy, it's already happening. So it's important that you look towards where you want to go. Look towards the person that you want to be. So the hint as to who you are begins with accepting the fact that inside you is a powerful person waiting to come forward. Now, as we wrap up, I just want to remind you that in order to get to that, you must practice silence in the right way. And you also want to discover ways to give your mind the power boost that it needs so that you can speak and act with that winning authority, and you will get the outcome that you're looking for. And it's not so much about getting the outcome that you're looking for. That's kind of a given. It is about being able to empower yourself to do what it takes to get the outcome that you're looking for. Okay, so what I said, it was a given. That's what makes it a given. When you're able to empower yourself to stay the course and do what you need to do when you're supposed to do it so that you can get to where it is you need to be. You can look at your life and you can say, wow, if you've been talking about doing the exact same thing, or getting something fixed, or cleaning something up, or I don't know, decluttering something or whatever, and you were talking about that 6 months ago and 6 months later it has not been done, then that tells you that on some level you have to get in touch with who you really, really are. Because on some level, let's just say your empowerment meter, or your energy meter for success, your winning authority, it perhaps either needs to be turned on, or it's kind of low. The energy part of it is low. But the beautiful part is, because we're built by design to win, we can always adjust and readjust and get to where it is we truly desire to be. Okay, so yesterday I talked about success is in the silence. And today I'm talking about the fact that your winning authority is in your authenticity. And tomorrow I'm going to we're going to touch a little bit on setting goals and creating objectives that matter. But we're going to tie all of this in because one of the things I've said is being silent in the right way and discovering ways to give your mind the power boost that it needs. So I'm going to make some suggestions as to what you can do, offer some resources that can help you with that so that you can follow through. I promise you, wherever you are right now in your life or however you're living or whatever is going on with you, you can take control of your destiny. And I'm saying this because I had a conversation with someone, and I'm going to wrap up on this. And one of the things I said to them is, look, your destiny is not rooted in politics. It's not rooted in what's going on in Washington, D.C. Okay, there's some lessons that perhaps you want to learn from this, but whatever it is for you to learn, if you're feeling disempowered, that means on some level you have to discover who you really are. And you have to take authority over your life and claim that destiny. And then get in touch with your authenticity so you can be empowered to follow through. And before you know it, you'll be doing life with power.